Hopefully people will come by. Didn't mean to start the recording with that, but anyway, hello everyone. Welcome back to Ocarina of Time. Once again, we continue with the question of, will this actually be nostalgic for me? Or will I just gripe and complain the whole time? Because seriously, Ocarina of Time, like, I know that I'm gonna get a lot of, like, people probably upset at how I react to this game. But, like, one, I've just played this game so much, it's ridiculous. And two, meh. Don't really care. People can do as they please. Let's go ahead and make it daytime. We've got 63 rupees. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know why Lon Lon Ranch has no music. Now, some people in Kakariko spreading rumors that I cheated Talon out of the ranch. But don't be ridiculous. That guy Talon was weak. I, the hard-working Ingo, poured so much energy into this place. I don't want any strangers like you saying anything bad about me. Listen, the great Ganondorf recognized my obvious talents and gave the ranch to me. I will raise a fine horse and win recognition from the great Ganondorf. Say, young man, do you want to ride one of my fine horses? Pay me 10 rupees and you can ride. Want to hear how to ride? No, I know how to ride. Thank you so much. Play the pony song. And we got our 10 rupees back. By jumping these fences. Or we get one of them back. Because I didn't jump the other fence in the middle. There we go. Now we got our 10 rupees back. The annoying thing is that you have to do this and wait a full minute and run out of time before you can actually, like, talk to Ingo. Like, you have to do this, wait till your time's up, and then do it again in order to do this. Hey, time's up, young man. You've only paid 10 rupees. Played around long enough. Pay me 10 rupees and you can ride. Of course, then means playing Epona song again. Which, of course, unless you want to lose your 10 rupees, means collecting them again. There you go. You're getting better. How about a little race with me? One lap around the corral with that horse. Let's make a little wager, say 50 rupees? Oh god. If I lose this even once, I'm done. He's a rotten little cheater, 'cause he starts early. But that's okay, 'cause I still win every time. If I go a little bit faster than he. I'd have to not fail the second time. Ah, shoot! If the great Ganondorf found out about this humiliation, hey you, how about another race? If you win, you can keep the horse! And once again, the rotten little sneak goes off early, but that's fine. And this time he tries to cut you off by staying directly in front of you. So what you gotta do is you gotta cut him off right here. Fortunately, I used all my carrots. I used all the carrots. You scrappy. Screw you. Scrap you. Seriously. And like he still takes your 50 rupees, even though that wasn't part of the wager anymore. Like, I hate that so much. It's like, this wasn't even part of the wager anymore, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to screw you. It's like that. How rude. Now I have to walk. And it's like, I didn't even think about the fact that I would need like 50 rupees for that, because if I had, I would have gone back and like filled up my wallet before going forward in time. Because the problem is that now I actually can't go back in time. So I can't just get rupees again. I feel like that would be okay if there wasn't an easy, like, guaranteed, like, always get a bunch of rupees method. But there is. And so now it's just a pain. It's like, in the past, there's this way you can just get infinite rupees. In the future, there's not. I am hitting buttons on my controller for no reason at all. Trying to adjust my jacket, but it didn't work. I do like coming back to the Ocarina Forest as an adult, and it's like, hey, look how small everything is now. You know? It's like when you were here before, everything was so big. If you come here now and it's just like, hey, look, everything is so small. It's like you barely fit through the doors now. You know? It would have been cool if the doors had been like a little shorter, to the point where like Link had to actually like duck down. Just because, like, I mean, who else is going to go through those doors, you know? Just the children. They don't need to be bigger than child size. So it would have been cool if they had added that little, like, extra element to it. And how would you go through the door? Simply just put the event that makes him go through the door, just like directly in front of the door. Also, I completely forgot that we couldn't even go that way yet. We have to go to Kakariko Village first. It's been like 3 days since I last played this game. I completely forgot that, you know, Sheik told me to go here first. Kakariko Village. Do 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 do. Alright, I'm not going that way, am I? I don't know, I just started going to Death Mountain because that just made sense. Hey, let's go do a time paradox. The song that never existed. I'll never forget what happened on that day 7 years ago. It's all that Ocarina kid's fault. Next time he comes around here, I'm gonna mess him up. What? You got an Ocarina? What the heck? That reminds me of that time 7 years ago. Back then, a mean kid came here and played a strange song. Messed up this windmill. I'll never forget the song. We have created a paradox. Play the Song of Storms. You learn the Song of Storms. We have created a time paradox. Because the song never existed. So where did it come from? I wonder. Also, am I the only one that finds it very strange that after the Gravekeeper dies, there's just nobody here? Like, would there not just be a new Gravekeeper? Gravekeeper's Diary is here. Whoever reads this, please enter my grave. I will let you have my stretching, shrinking keepsake. I'm waiting for you, Dampe. It's like, if there isn't a Gravekeeper, then who made Dampe's grave? And also, like, who's maintaining the graves? If there's no Gravekeeper. Like, what the heck? Oh my god. The freaking hole mechanic. Gee, young man, are you fast on your feet? I may not look like it, but I'm confident in my speed. Let's have a race. Follow me if you dare. You are a cheater. Throwing fire at me. Try and knock me back and prevent me from winning. He's a cheater. You dirty, rotten cheater. Shut up, Navi. I'm literally on the quest that you're telling me to go do. The time of this race was 1:09. Hee hee, young man. You're very quick to be able to keep up with me. Hee hee. As a reward, I'm going to give you my treasure. It's called the hookshot. Its spring-loaded chain will pull you to any spot where it took sticks. Doesn't that sound cool? I'm sure it will help you. I live here now, so come back again sometime. I'll give you something cool. One more thing. Be careful on your way back. Shut up, Navi. Sorry, one sec. I'm just trying to post in places to see about getting some peoples here. Found the hookshot. Spring load chain. Yep.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Right then. There we go. Hey! Hey, Link, you never listened to me. That's because I already know. Got it. Got a piece of heart. Also, I think there's one piece of heart we can never get now because I didn't do the mask quest. And there's a glitch where, for some odd reason, once you go into the future, you end up being unable to go back and do the mask quest. Like, you can do the mask quest, but you can't get the reward for, I don't remember which mask it is, but you take the mask into the Lost Woods and you show it to a, like, group of Deku, and they give you, like, a heart piece or something like that. But you can't get it now because I don't have the because I've gone into the future here. So it's a weird bug in the game that, you know, it was during the N64's time. They weren't exactly able to patch video games, so it's not like they could really, you know, fix it. So we Don't you just love how giant the overworld is? And just how empty it is? And how there's absolutely nothing to do in it? It's so much fun. Sorry, I need to plug my phone in. And to quote Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps, this game has so much waiting. Can't even get past that right now, which is fine. It's not like I need to. I love this, like, peaceful, like, Kokiri Village music when there's a million monsters all over the place. Just gonna, smash some pots. No big deal. Haven't I seen you somewhere before, mister? Sorry you went to the temple and hasn't come back. Absolutely no attempt was made for Link to, like, try to tell his friends, like, hey, it's me. No attempt. Have you been traveling around much, mister? Have you ever met a boy named Link? Mito said the great Deku Tree withered because that boy did something wrong to it. Only Saria defended Link until she left. Maybe we misunderstood. No attempt was made. This is why I say Ocarina of Time could have been a great story. But no attempt was made. Like, I can go into every one of these houses and talk to these Kokiri, and they're all like, I don't know you. Like, wouldn't Link be like, hey, it's me. And since the great Deku Tree withered, more meanies have been appearing in the forest. I'm scared. An evil wind is blowing from the direction of the forest temple. Saria left, saying I have to do something about it. The forest temple is located in the sacred forest meadow on the far side of the Lost Woods. Where's Saria? Do you know Saria, mister? That's weird. Where has Mito gone during such an emergency? Like, why doesn't Link make some attempt to be like, hey, it's me? Like, this game has the potential to be really good if someone were to sit down and actually remake this game. But all we got was a remaster on the 3DS. It wasn't even a very good remaster either. Yeah, you're here. What are you? What are you? Do you wear Kokiri-ish clothing? You can't fool me. I promised Saya I would never let anybody go through here. Like, he's not like, hey, it's me, Link. He's like, I'll just play the song. That melody. Saya plays that song all the time. Do you know Saya? That song. Saya taught that song only to her friends. Okay, I trust you. When I see you, I don't know why, but I remember him. No attempt was made. Like, Link, and it's not that the developers made no attempt, it's Link makes no attempt. Like, no attempt is made by Link to inform his friends that it is him. Yeah, we'll be going through some narrow passages. Also, we've already seen this instruction, so it's like, why are you telling me this? And why can I not hit B to skip? Why is the text so slow? Also, just look at these moblins for a moment. They're so pathetic. These are the worst moblins. Ow. Can I not kill this guy? No, I guess I can't. I was able to kill the last one because I was able to, like, stand there and attack as he went by. But I don't think you can do that here. I don't think you can sneak up on this one. Maybe you can if you go slow enough. I know that you get arrows later to kill these guys, but like this is a pain. There's so much freaking waiting. I legitimately don't know how to get past this guy, which is strange. I definitely don't remember having trouble getting past this guy before. That works, I guess. I don't remember doing that, but I guess it works. So much. Wait, really? So much waiting. Serene, that's what Aaron complained about. Like, that's the words that he used. Really? Whatever. And my response is, yes, because another person used it. That does not make the, argument invalid. In fact, if I find the same issue, why would I not just say the exact same thing? Whatever. I don't even care. Like, you have to sneak your way around all those guys, but then there's this one. How does that make any sense? And then he doesn't even turn around or anything. He just lets you wail on him from behind. They're the worst moblins ever. I hate them so much. And the flow of time is always cruel. Its speed seems different for each person, but no one can change it. A thing that doesn't change with time is a memory of younger days. In order to come back here again, play the Minuet of Forest. You have learned the Minuet of Forest. Link, I'll see you again. Does she even have a purpose in this game? I have taught you a song, now I shall disappear. We shall see each other again the next time you want to learn the song. I serve no other purpose. What? Game. Thank you. You say I have... I just fell into nothingness. Like, here's a nice example of how they handled combat. You'll notice that every time I fought, like when I had the Z targeting on the one enemy, the other Wolfos didn't attack. And that's on purpose. It actually deactivates that enemy's attacking AI. And instead the enemy just like wanders and moves and stuff. It doesn't attack you while you're Z targeting. I think that was really well done. Like, for being the very first like 3D Zelda game, there are some things in this game that are really well done. Most of it is not. But there are some things. Found a small key! Ow. Actually, I could have gotten through because I have the hook shot now. I completely forgot the hook shot can kill those things. That's alright. And then this freaking temple. At least this temple's not as bad as some of the later temples are. Don't even get me started on Master Quest. Like, if you don't want to hear me rage about Ocarina of Time, you don't want me to hear me rage about freaking Master Quest. Because seriously. Master Quest shouldn't even exist. It's very easy to get lost in this temple, though. Which is really not my complaint about it. I mean, it's a complaint, but it's not my big complaint about it. Alright, make sure we Z-target one of them. And it turns off the AI of the other one. So much waiting. Like, you can't hit this thing. Hey, look at this. Oh, that's not a very good example. Here we go. That was interesting, actually. I've never just like barreled through the Stalfos encounter like that. That was funny. I have empty bottles. God knows I'm probably gonna need them in this dungeon. That was not the button I hit, but thank you, game. Well, at least these ones don't jinx you. So that's good. I feel like they used to, but maybe that was a Majora's Mask thing. Oh, here's a fun fact. There are arrows painted on the floor. Clearly. So here's a fun fact. If you get here without the Goron bracelet, you can't move these. These blocks require the Goron bracelet to move. Which is interesting. It makes me wonder if there was originally some plan to utilize these initially. Like as young Link, or for you to get to these blocks in some way without being, adult Link, that in turn, like determined, the whole Goron bracelet thing. Because there would be absolutely no reason to check for that. But yet, for some odd reason, these blocks can only be pulled if you have the Goron bracelet. Or higher. If you don't have the Goron bracelet... Freaking the fall mechanic in this game, though. The fall mechanic in this game is worse than the fall mechanic in Fall Guys. And the whole point of that game is falling. Well, actually, the whole point of that game is not falling. Well, as GLaDOS would say. Well, the whole point of that game is actually not falling. But you knew that already. I wish I had a way of removing the Goron bracelet so I could show you like that it requires the Goron bracelet to do that. But I don't know of any way to do that. Like, look how trolly this is, though. Like, you get all that way here, only to find out, like, oh, hey, you need another key. You didn't go the other way, you didn't have that key. This corridor is all twisted. Obviously. Watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling. Right. I need another key that I've somehow managed to miss. Because I always do. Gosh dang it. I always get here missing a key. And I try so hard to get all the keys first, too. Every time I do this, I'm like, I gotta make sure I've got all the keys this time. I always end up getting here at least one key, if not more, short. Wait. Now, because I missed a key, now I have to go all the way back here. Try to figure out where it's at. I don't even remember, honestly. Ah, right, it's this one, isn't it? It's like a key up here, I think. If not, there's something up here that leads to a key elsewhere. On dungeon map. There we go. There's the key. I thought there was something where I drained the water and then I got a key from draining the water. Did I mention that I would probably need that fairy? Long corridors with nothing in them. Ow. Like, those things always hit me, so I just don't even bother fighting them. Do I need another key? I feel like I'm still missing a key. Right? Aren't I still missing yet another key? I feel like I'm missing another key. Because it goes through that door. And I get to the pose. But then don't I need another key after that? Pretty sure I need another key after that. Maybe even 2 keys. God dang it. I don't even know where those ones are. I'm just gonna do what I normally do and just go along and see what happens and backtrack when I end up needing keys. I don't even know where I am anymore. I think I'm in the right place. Yeah, okay. So this is the place. There's just like so much that they expect you to do before you walk in here that you end up backtracking like 5 times if you don't know what to do. I feel like I'm still missing at least 1, maybe even 2 keys. I always miss the key here. Like, I think I always remember the first 2 keys. But then after getting to that jump, the twisted corridor there, I end up missing that key. And I feel like there's another key, like right after that I end up needing that I've missed too. It's like at the end of this corridor, I think. Hello, you stupid pose. Well, in either case, this gets me the bow, so. Also, this fight really sucks. Because the AI can just walk right over this hole. But you will fall. And then you have to do it all over again. And if you don't Z-target, they will kill you because they will both attack you. Whoa, that's freaking slow down. I always forgot about that. That happens even in the original N64 too. I don't know why. Then like this guy will come back if you don't kill this guy fast enough. But it takes so long to kill this guy. So that first guy almost always comes back. I mean, he didn't that time. I was lucky enough, but like he almost always does. At least for me. Because there's so much waiting. Found the fairy bow. This game is not return player friendly at all. But then neither is the original Link's Awakening, so. Like, I will fully admit that while Link's Awakening is one of my favorites, the remake was just so much better because it fixed just about everything that was wrong with that game. That's why we need a remake of Ocarina of Time. Because this game is decent. And probably could be as good as people think it is if it got remade. It was good for the time, but it did not age well, is what I'm trying to say. Of course, everybody would disagree with me on that. This game aged perfectly fine. No, it definitely did not. This game did not age well at all. The game aging well means that you can play it later in life. And, like, the game systems aren't obnoxious and it's like he disappears immediately after he attacks. If you don't hit him as soon as he appears, then you have to wait. And then you wait. I'm doing the jump attack to deal double the damage. Because if you don't do the jump attack, it doesn't deal double the damage. Meaning you've got to wait even longer. There's so much waiting in this game. Wonder if I can find the sequelitis. If I just searched Ego Raptor sequelitis, I could probably find it. No, it's on YouTube. People in the VOD would be the only ones that got to see it, though, because I thought that whenever I stream, I have one viewer. I was starting to think maybe that was just something with OBS, registering as one viewer, but I've been live for an hour now, and I still have 0. So it might not be. Oh, and also you have to do this 4 times. Well, 3 times. If you do this, fight 3 times. You know, the N64 didn't have a big enough cartridge to create unique enemies for the pose. And the worst thing is that this isn't even just like 3 pose like this. Like every Poe, except for like 2 of them in this game, have this mechanic. I'm still missing a key, but I think that key is only obtainable via having the bow. Now that I think about it. I need to have 2 keys at this point. Because there's one up here, but then there's one by the next Poe, if I remember right. If it's not just like right up here. Watch for the shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling. Yep, there it is. Now again, it might be that that key is only obtainable once you have the bow to begin with. I don't really remember at this point, to be honest. Well, I guess I wanted to go back to the beginning of the dungeon. So say I'm missing a key. I guess that's one way to do it. Bam. Let's see. Sequelitis Zelda. Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time. Oh, there's apparently a rebuttal. I'd love to see that. Oh, that's loud.
The Legend of Zelda. It's a series so huge, I couldn't help but say it all. Woo. But its hugeness is mostly... Hey, what are you doing over there?
I'm just writing my preemptive counter-argument about how you're wrong about my favorite game of all time and the best game ever.
Oh, okay. Well, don't you think that's a little, I don't know, closed-minded? I mean, I get you probably liked this game as a kid, but isn't it time we looked at it critically and made a fair analysis of how...
No!
Okay, ask anybody about Zelda. Anyone can tell you what makes a Zelda game, and what a game needs to be a Zelda game. But is that description you'll get really what describes a Zelda game at its core? Is it possible that following this formula might actually be missing the entire point of what makes Zelda awesome? Or even what makes a sequel awesome? I mean, Zelda's a game where you swing a fucking sword at some pigs or whatever. There's bombs, triangles. Got 3 triangles. You win! In Zelda, you were an adventurer. Well, seriously, that much wasn't even explained. You were just a green dude. Walk to a cave. Old dude goes, hey, take this. You're like, okay, it's a sword. You swing it at monsters that shoot rocks and shit at you, and you have a great time killing them. You figure if there's a cave I get a sword in, there must be other caves to get other shit in, right? Maybe other swords? I don't know. This world's neat. Well, that's Zelda. And whether or not Zelda is what it is now, that's how it started. And that's what sold a bazillion games. A trillion million games. Look at how many games there are.
How many games there are?
Then eventually Linky came out, whatever. And then A Link to the Past. It was like the definitive Zelda, right? It felt like the first Zelda, but there was so much more. Bigger world, more things going on. It was nuts. My 8-year-old mind couldn't take it. Was I 8? I don't remember. But still, it changed a lot of things. This guy, Link, was given a name and a purpose. Rescue the princess. Save Hyrule. You have an uncle. I don't know what his name is. He dies.
He dies.
In Link to the Past, you start out in a house. You're forced to head up, sneak into a castle, fight some guards, rescue a princess, and bring her through an underground tunnel to some church or whatever, so you can finally go out, have your world to enjoy. Okay, cool. But okay, you want me to talk to some old lady? Okay, then what? Oh, find some kid who knows about where some old dude is? Okay, so here's the old dude. Okay, so go into this temple. Okay, beat the temple. Okay, listen. I'm not your fucking servant. Why do you give me this world to explore and have a good time in, and then you tell me to do these super specific things? You don't throw a 6-year-old into a sandbox and say, hey, you can only make poopy castles. You know when you take wet sand and you just let it drip on top of a pile of sand? It's a poopy castle. I mean, exploration still exists in Link to the Past, and God knows it's required to beat it. But if a game is telling you to do specific things with marks on a map and a sequence of which things to do and specific instructions, you're not discovering a world. You're being taken on a tour. You're no longer a pioneer adventurer, you're a guest at Disneyland. Here's your ticket. Be sure to check out Space Mountain Indiana Jones before you leave. Yes, Goofies, wait! Win a prize!
120 pounds?
No.
It's too low.
The whole game, it feels a bit more processed. It feels a bit more planned. You have a mission, and the mission is laid out for you. And that kind of thing is fine. I mean, I go to Disneyland like 6 times a year. I fucking love the Blue Bayou restaurant. They got great food.
Oh, not hosting my stream.
That's a little pricey. But you know what, it's worth it. But Zelda, from its roots, it's not the kind of game that holds your hand. There's no explanation or even really like a goal, but there's adversity everywhere. And you can approach it anytime you want, whether you're prepared or not. You run the real risk of facing off against something that will kill you in a fucking second. It's fucking awesome! But if you look at A Link to the Past and The Legend of Zelda from a surface level, they seem the same. There's a bunch of dungeons you get items for. Bombs, triangles, boomerangs, oh my! With bosses and a final fight with a giant pigman, there's a big world with caves and bushes. But it's not the same.
I love this video.
There's a shift in soul, a difference in how you perceive and experience the world. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't fucking know.
Like, this really tells a lot about how I feel about this.
The clouds are parting, and the heavens are sending us a message from above. Our eyes squint and adjust to the heavenly glow when we finally can understand what it says. Hey! There's a 3D Zelda coming out! Oh my god. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's a game considered by most to be a masterpiece. A 3D world with delicious sound and amazing graphics. At the time. Each dungeon and each town feels unique and has its own energy.
Wasn't even good graphics at the time.
It was so epic. This is what felt like gaming was leading up to. It felt like a natural progression. It felt like witnessing a fish grow legs. But not that one. It's really gross. So now we have this 3D world, and it felt like that was what made the difference. But what exactly?
I haven't seen this in so long.
To examine that, we have to examine dreaded transition from the second dimension to the third dimension. If we've learned anything from Sonic the Hedgehog over here, it's that turning a 2D game into a 3D game, it ain't easy. It ain't even fucking quantifiable. How do you take the simplicity of form that 2D allows, give it a Z-axis? Everything changes, and it seems to turn a really good game design into a completely fucking broken one. Oh god. Oh my god. Timmy, don't look. Just look at that! Just look at it! Zelda, that one's not too hard. It already technically has 3 dimensions. You got the Y-axis, the X-axis, but you know, you could go upstairs, enemies could jump over you, all that stuff. Well, that's where the differences start. See, Link to the Past had a selective Z-axis. For example, you couldn't be on the second floor and attack a dude on the first floor, but if the sandworm boss soared over your head and you weren't harmed by it, you could still swing at it and it'd register a hit. Bats fly through the air, but they're always conveniently at sword's height. That shit's asinine in 3D, which ironically in this situation is a limitation of the medium. The more specific you get about situations analogous to reality, the more you have to stipulate on. You can't hit a bat from any Z-axis position distance. Now it's really clear where the bats are in 3D space. They're up, down, every fucking where. And aiming your sword would be retarded. Hey! I see you there, Lumen. Dude, I'm sorry, I'm just curious. What do we gotta do to remedy this Z-axis problem? Ladies and gents, I present you Z-targeting. Pesky bats flying from every which way, trying to circle around a Stalfos without losing track of where it is relative to you. Have I got a treat for you? Just press the Z button and lock onto the nearest baddie and have a go with your mighty sword device. Check it out. Z-targeting made combat complicated. And that's not a bad thing. No more simple point and swing stuff here, folks. You gotta lock on, focus on the fight. This is a gigantic difference, and it makes combat complex. Now, I don't say this a lot, but let's see how this is a good thing. A new method of combat means new ways to go about designing enemies in combat situations. You used to just point and hit and run. What the fuck, man? But now, there's rolling, dodging, stabbing, swinging, leaping. Holy shit! So complex. So many possibilities. It's so deep they can make an entire game based on the combat system. But guess what? They didn't! Here's how this is a poopy bad thing. Z-targeting creates a strange disconnect from the world around you. It changes the camera angle from what you're used to exploring the world in, and that shifts your entire focus and outlook. It segments the game into 2 pieces. This is the combat piece, this is the world exploring piece. They don't mix. Put them in a room together, they get into an argument. Hey, fuck you! Hey, fuck you too! Dude, guys, can't we just get along? What do you think this is? Link to the Past? Like the man says, in the old Zelda games, those 2 pieces were linked. There were segments where you had to fight off enemies and explore the rooms simultaneously. It was much easier to manage it all, and now it's complicated and puts you in unfair situations.
I hope that's the last key I needed.
What the heck was that all about?
Z-targeting also puts a damper on throwaway enemies like bats, who were fun to kill in previous Zeldas, but are now a pain in the goddamn ass since you have to individually focus on each one and precisely hit them. It'd be like if you wanted to kill a bunch of ants in your house by stomping on them, but instead of doing that, you pointed a slingshot at each one individually. Now, okay, on the flip side, complicated enemies are a total joy to fight, but the issue then comes up of how they're even designed. Okay, so as I mentioned before, a lot of the charm from the original Zelda was how ruthless the game was, and a complex fighting system would be perfect place to implement that. But the source of a lot of Ocarina's problems is that the game's idea of difficulty is waiting. There's so much goddamn waiting. In Ocarina, every enemy has a period where they just stand around and do fucking nothing, and attacking them during this time is useless. Deku Scrubs, Stalfos, Lizardmen, Skulltulas, Wolf Dudes, Gerudos, Clams? Waiting is not a difficult thing to do, but it creates the illusion of difficulty because it takes up your time. And that's all it does. A fight feels like an ordeal when you have to devote a decent amount of time to it, but it's not hard. Just look at Final Fantasy IX, Skies of Arcadia, Grandia. These long-ass battles, not hard, but they feel like they're something. This is a mindless interaction, and you're simply going through the motions instead of strategizing. Wait, attack. Wait, attack. wait. It's not very hard to do, and it's difficult to mess up. This style of enemy isn't inherently bad. I mean, it creates an interesting player-enemy relationship where the enemy's controlling the pace of the battle, but the fact that it's a consistent theme in enemies gives the impression that it's used as a difficulty supplement, since none of these enemies are actually difficult to fight. Now, on the flip side, Ocarina has the coolest enemy ever, the Iron Knuckle. It's an enemy that is actually provoked to attack and also to be vulnerable by your own attack, which makes the pace of the battle completely dictated by you and your ability to fight it. Additionally, the nature of his attack pattern requires you to be aware of your surroundings. You can lure him to attack pillars, which yield hearts to replenish your life, which is another layer of depth to the battle. This is the kind of enemy design Ocarina needed so much more of. A merging of combat and world, where you are still very aware of your surrounding in each set piece, even during combat. And the world around you affects your combat. I feel that this particular battle shows how Ocarina could have had an even better combat world connection than Link to the Past, or even the original Zelda, but chose to save it only for mini-bosses and some boss battles. Could have been every enemy. In any case, the nature of Z-targeting forced Zelda to be more combat-centric, and with it, the world was forced to change, but it didn't. You still push blocks, only now you can't push them when you're engaged in combat, and you still open doors by shooting slingshots at eyeballs in the wall. Is that a puzzle? Like, seriously, is that a puzzle? Is looking around the room and finding an eyeball on a wall really super fun for people? Like, the game is 3D now, so everything isn't laid out before you like a map anymore. So I get that there's this sense that you walk into a room and aren't getting all the information about the room right away, but is stopping your forward motion, stopping everything, to look for a diamond to whack that's in a soulless crevice in the wall so you can open a door that leads to another room with a locked door and some other silly open sesame trick? Is that fun? Is this what you want?
Hey, come on, man, it's not that bad.
Shh, Skyward Sword. Seriously, I'm doing like a show.
I know, I just figured I'd give my 2 cents.
I don't care. Nobody likes you. You took fun and made it unfun. How'd you even do that? Maybe I should go Dallas for a better game, huh? So is my interest in playing you again. Oh, shit! Burn! Burn! So I'm just really proud of what I've done today. Plus, really hate you. All right, let me explain something. A puzzle is something you have all the information for. The only thing standing between you and the solution is your own ability to put the pieces together in the right way. The satisfaction you obtain from solving a puzzle is from the aha moment, when the pieces fit and you have only yourself to blame for it. If you're missing a piece, how are you supposed to even get to a conclusion? You rack your brain, run in circles, go, what do I fucking do? Until you find the last piece on a whim, and suddenly it all makes sense. You say, well, shit! Or, come on! The satisfaction doesn't come from the door opening, it comes from the puzzle itself. If the puzzle itself isn't satisfying, well, there you go. The puzzle itself isn't satisfying. You see, in the original Zelda, you'd walk into a room, the doors would lock, but 5 caped horse sword dude looking guys who are fucking hard as shit surround you. They follow you around. When they see you, you can only attack them from the sides or the back. You gotta find vantage points, ins, outs, manage your health, dodge them when they gang up. It's daunting. It's interesting. It engages you.
Ow.
And it's really easy to understand. And because of all this, it's satisfying when you beat them. A door opening is like, oh, okay, cool, the door opened. You're not like, fucking finally the door. But look, that's not to say puzzles or whatever can't exist in Ocarina of Time's combat-centric universe. But sliding spiked death pucks coming out from around the corner you can't see is just bad fucking design. It's bad design in any game. It's no different in Zelda. You don't get a get out jail free card. You gotta roll 3 times. In the first Zelda, you see that shit. In Link to the Past, you see that shit. In Ocarina,
that was close.
Oops. Yeah, I know. That's the nature of 3D. But if it doesn't work in 3D, you change it. If the formula doesn't work, you change the formula. Why do I gotta leap across these platforms? There's no challenge here. I hold the joystick up. Just because the scenario's treacherous doesn't mean the game is actually treacherous. I could've just walked forward in a straight line. Heck, I can close my eyes here and do this. Is that treacherous? Can I just close my eyes and shoot at terrorist insurgents and be like, oh, I'm fucking fine? Hey, or better yet, how about some nice interesting combat scenario here on these platforms, huh? Like some kind of enemy that'll circle around you and you just gotta time your jump across, or like block his path with a bomb or something. Or like, how about an enemy you have to slash at enough to knock it off the edge? But when you slash him, he also kind of slashes and knocks you back like another well-designed enemy in some motherfucking game. I just made that up. I don't even, and it exists in a good Zelda game.
Oh man, enemies in a good Zelda game? Are you talking about me?
No,
No.
I'm not talking about you. Get out of my house. Go. I can't can't be too hard on Skyward Sword. It at least made bombs bearable to use. You throw a bomb in Link to the Past in 4 directions. Left, right, up, down. In Ocarina, you have infinity directions. You also have a really vague idea of where it's gonna land, especially if you're throwing up or down in different elevations. There's so much room for error, it's fucking unreal. Z-targeting helps, but what if there are enemies around you don't want to target onto?
Oh my god.
You just want to fight and throw a bomb! Skyward Sword added like a throw arc, but it also added bomb bowling. Bomb bowling. It added bomb. Skyward Sword added bomb
bowling.
It added bomb bowling. Yeah, okay, fuck Skyward Sword. It still handles treasure chests. Dumb. But to be fair, Ocarina started it. You know, okay, in each dungeon, Ocarina has a unique item in a regular old treasure chest. In each dungeon, it just kind of shows up after a random battle with some enemies. Link to the Past had a giant fucking treasure chest that needed a big key to open. The big key also opened the door to the boss. There's like a genuine giddiness to finding a treasure with such a huge implication to it. The big key not only gives me amazing new treasure, but also allows me to face off against an incredible boss. The time it takes me to get back to the big treasure is like the most fucking suspenseful thing ever. It's like running downstairs to get the presents under the Christmas tree, or menorah, or like whatever, birthday tree. I often hear that this is a minor point, but it creates an emotional through line for a dungeon. It establishes an important, consistent relationship with the player and the dungeon. It creates goals. It creates expectation. It creates a good fucking game. A treasure chest in and of itself is a mystery and a sense of suspense. The original Zelda didn't have chests, it just had like new items sitting at the end of like a long hallway that built up tension. It gave you time to wonder about what it was and how it worked. Link to the Past added chests, which was another means to the same goal, you know, building suspense. It's a fucking secret box. You see a present and you're like, oh god, I want to open it. Simply walking to the chest is all the suspense you need. When you arrive, the payoff is instant. It opens right away when you hit the button. It shows what it is, done. I know, it may not appear epic, and it may seem kind of silly and video gamey, but the feeling of suspense is real and very valid.
Right.
Ocarina decided to add in bullshit. Link opens up the treasure chest all like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god, I'm amazed! Who cares that he's amazed? I want to be amazed. Just show the fucking treasure already. I beat the dudes blocking it. I climbed the ladder or whatever and got here. Why do I gotta wait? Just because the game needs to be all epic and 3D whooshy whooshy because of all the graphics and polygons and all that whatnot, I gotta wait like, look at how many chests I can open in that time.
Right.
God. There's so much waiting in Ocarina. You gotta wait for a door to close. You gotta wait for a character to stop talking. You gotta wait for the dialogue box to tell you how to use bombs for the 47th goddamn time. Wait for the switch to make a music tone and open a door across the room. Wait for Link to go flying backwards and then get up off the ground. Wait for bombs to blow up. How fucking long does it take to switch between worlds? You gotta play the Prelude of Light. Say yes. Watch the cutscene. Walk up to the Master Sword plot. Watch the cutscene. Walk out of the Temple of Time. Play whatever song brings you the closest to where you want to go. Say yes. Watch the cutscene and walk all the way to where you want to be. And Link to the Past, you equip a mirror, press a button, you're there. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I am harshly criticizing Ocarina of Time on the internet. I'm gonna get crucified. Waiting is the bane of exploration. Why would I want to explore in a world where I gotta waste useless time just to check a fucking room? You should never, ever, ever hit that point where you're like, I'll check that room later. And a game about checking rooms! I mean, you're exploring a world, right?
Right.
And then they decide, hey, we're gonna streamline the dungeon process. Guess what? You enter a dungeon, halfway through, you get an item that helps you through the other half of the dungeon, and then you use that item on the boss to render it hittable. And then you hit it with a sword, typically in a pattern of 3 times. But that part can... Ladies and gentlemen, please exit through the gift shop, try our Triforce-shaped ice cream bars. Can you please tell me what about this world is interesting if I know, before I even finish the dungeon, what the boss battle's gonna be? Oh, I got a slingshot. Maybe I hit some big glowing object with a slingshot. Oh, a mirror shield that lets me reflect light at stuff. Maybe the boss is gonna be a dude that I gotta reflect light at. Look, I know you can argue that this is actually good game design, but a game where I'm adventuring and I'm supposed to be excited about what's to come, it's kind of hard to wonder wide-eyed about something that's so predictable. It hurts. Ooh, darn. Ooh, jeez, arg. And this like streamlining process in Ocarina is present even outside the dungeons. Every little piece of this game is just hopping over some roadblock that needs you to do some specific thing to make it to the next roadblock. It's a game about jumping through hoops. Superman 64. Hey man, there's a
64.
closed door. Find the eye symbol, hit it with a slingshot. Another closed door. Find a key. Another closed door. Press a button. Another closed door. Give this dude a letter from Impa. And again, there's some exploring, but a random secret cave in the ground isn't gonna lead you through a complex catacomb with a mini boss at the end. It just won't. It's not gonna happen. You'll fall, you'll get a treasure chest, go da-da-da-da, and fucking leave. They would not sacrifice their precious formula for a little bit of fun. Link to the Past had a little bit more variety. Sometimes the item you get in a dungeon isn't even a weapon. Sometimes the boss can be defeated with just the fucking sword. Sometimes the boss needs to be defeated with an item from a dungeon 2 dungeons ago. There's one boss that you have to beat him with an item that you don't even get in a dungeon. It still felt like an adventure. Like you had like this arsenal you've been collecting, and you're using it whenever it may be useful. And it may be useful anytime. You gotta be ready for that shit. Original Legend of Zelda had some dinosaurs. There's a dinosaur. So look at that dinosaur. There's a fucking dinosaur right there. It's this kind of misdirection of like what you should care about in Zelda that really bugs me about Ocarina. Like, let's take its story for example. Ocarina's story provides you with a context to your quest. That accomplishing this will save this or change this, but it refuses to acknowledge the player's innate sense of wonder and drive to quest and fight. Players want to fight bosses. They want to be rewarded for their efforts. They want to enter a dungeon, see what's inside, and succeed against enemies. But you gotta go put that feeling aside. There are more important matters at hand. The Sheikahs or the Hylians or whatever. Save the Hylians. Gorons don't have rocks to eat. That's why you gotta quest. Gorons gotta eat. The fuck are the Gorons? I don't even care. And then what we're left with is what feels like a formality. Dungeons with doors that need to be opened, bosses that are beaten in the same fucking manner every time. I think the idea that you're told you're a hero saving a kingdom is at least somewhat unnecessary. When it's an order delivered by the game, it becomes a task. It's like a job. The message should be in that, as a player, your idea of fun ends up making you a hero. Fighting monsters is what you live for and isn't what, say, this fucking guy lives for. Why aren't all these other dudes going out and fighting monsters and questing? Because they're not heroes. They don't find it fun. But you, the player, find it fun. You find killing monsters fun. You find ridding the world of evil things fun. That makes you a hero. Not the dialogue, not the story. A book can tell you the main character's a hero with dialogue. A movie can too. But in a game you can feel it. You can experience it firsthand. You don't need dialogue. Why was the inclusion of so many semantics necessary? And I don't buy the argument that they're only there to richen the world with story, because adding those contexts to the situation is devaluing design aspects. The game literally stops for you to complete some asinine story task. Look, you go to Kakariko Village. You go to the entrance of Death Mountain. Dude won't let you pass. You go, what the fuck, man? I want to go up there. That's what I want to do. But no. You have to wait for the game to tell you why you want to go up there. You know why you want to go up there. You want to fight some dudes, fight a boss, get a cool weapon. But no, you gotta go talk to Zelda. The world is and then Impa's like, hey, you know, this is really important, so I'm gonna give you this note to give to this guy. I don't care. Nobody cares. You seriously just made me waste my time, press A bunch of times so that I could go up there. Just like a fucking... There's a tiny wall standing between me. I could climb over it. I'm an agile kid. I could climb the shit out of that. I climb vines all the time. No big deal. Purposely misinforming the player about why they should care about what they're doing displaces their values. And it creates a you can't tell me what to do attitude towards the game. And that's the last thing you want a game to do. You don't want a game to nag at you, especially in a game with an open world. Just look at how many fucking people hate Navi and Fee. All they do is nag and tell you what to do. Who the fuck wants to be told what to do? Am I in a cubicle? Am I sitting in a cubicle playing a Zelda game? No. See, this is why I think the Master Sword is brilliant, particularly in Link to the Past. Because it's talked about in literal terms. It's a sword that will make you more powerful and defeat evil. That's what it actually does for you, the player. There's no bullshit about avenging your mother or saving a village from persecution or giving Gorons rocks. There's rocks everywhere! What is wrong with you? Your whole town is made of rock and you're starving? The Master Sword is just the sword of evil's bane. Fucking awesome! How exciting is that? A new awesome sword! Count me the fuck in! And don't get me wrong, I don't think a world where people walk and talk is flawed, but having to trigger the ability to explore by walking and talking, it's annoying. It's like your mom. You can't have dessert, so you eat your peas. Can't explore the dungeon till you play Saria's Song for Goron. There are ways to involve characters in a story and not have them be utterly boring and detached from what you're doing. Why not have a Goron that helps you fight? Blows shit up while you're doing stuff. Why not have the Goron stay healthy by eating rocks and they're slowly becoming rarer as you progress through the dungeon? And he's on the verge of fatigue. Shit! Don't you want to get him some rocks to stay the hell alive? Let's keep moving so my friend can live. See, I'm a video game player. I care about slashing things, finding things, having an adventure, not wandering around until I pressed A at all the right places in the right order for whatever fucking story reason. It's like the longest page turn ever. Imagine you had to walk across your house back and forth 3 times before you could turn the page in a book you're reading. Gosh, isn't that stupid? Wouldn't that be retarded? That's what you're fucking doing in video games! Things just need to be simple. And what I mean by that is, Link to the Past added a story to make everything a little more epic. And since it was the same kind of game as the first, the game needed those tropes to come back. All those enemies and elements, while adding new ones too. But with that, a formula was born. A through line is important for a series, but when it acts like a katamari of tropes and elements that can't be forgotten or changed, things start getting sloppy and samey. We get games that become less and less interesting. Shigeru Miyamoto once described his idea for Zelda coming from the feeling he got from wanting to explore caves near his house as a child, which led to an amazing game where you explore caves and dungeons and found wondrous things. The irony is that when it came time to make sequels, Nintendo cared more about the things that were found, rather than the mystery itself. There is no mystery in modern Zelda games. Hey man, I'm mysterious. God, shut up! Seriously, you want all this attention like you can, like you really gave it your all in a new innovative Zelda experience, but instead you led Zelda into a frustrating monotony. You know, what started the franchise was like the sense of wonder, and what has thus far concluded the franchise is...
Hang on a moment, let me get through this scene. Thank you, because of you I could awaken as a sage. I am sorry, as the sage of the Forest Temple. I always believed that you would come, because I know you. No. You don't have to explain it to me. Because it is destiny that you and I can't live in the same world. Oh god, this is that cutscene, isn't it? We'll stay here as a forest sage and help you. Now, please take this medallion. I'll bring back the sequelitis once this cutscene's over. Receive the Forest Medallion. Saria awakens the sage and adds her power to yours. Saria will always be your friend. R.I.P. Link. But no, like, the video's not over yet, but, like, I completely agree with basically everything that Aaron said there. It's like, there's so much waiting, you know, it's like, you see the thing and that builds up suspense. There's no need for, like, oh, you open the chest and do-do-do-do-do-do-do, you know. Hi there, I'm the Decatry Sprout, especially not for every single chest. Because you and Saria broke the curse on the Forest Temple, I can grow and flourish. Thanks a lot. It's like, you get a dungeon map and a compass in every dungeon. I don't think we need do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, look, it's the compass. Here's dialogue every single time. Have you seen your old friends? None of them recognize you with your grown-up body, did they? That's because the Ocarina never grow up. Even after 7 years, they're still kids. You must be wondering why only you have grown up. Well, as you might have already guessed, you are not a Kokiri. You are actually a Hylian. I am happy to finally reveal the secret to you. But like, this is one reason I like Breath of the Wild so much. Is Breath of the Wild, they took the story, put it on the, back burner, basically, and we're like, hey, some time ago, before the King of Hyrule unified the country, there was a war. One day, to escape the fires of the war, a Hylian mother and her baby boy entered this forbidden forest. The mother was gravely injured. Her only choice was to entrust the child to the Decatry, the guardian spirit of the forest. Deku Tree could sense that this was a child of destiny, whose fate would affect the entire world, so he took him into the forest. And there is a rebuttal, apparently, that I'm going to look at, too. After the mother passed away, the baby was raised as a Kokiri. Now, finally, the day of destiny has come. So we'll watch that after the initial sequelitis. You are a Hylian, and were always bound to leave this forest. And now you have learned your own destiny, so you know what you must do. That's right, you must save the land of Hyrule. Now, Link, break the curses on all of the temples and return peace to Hyrule. Nice. Let's bring that sequelitis back up, see if we can finish it.
Sense of formality, a predictable, time-consuming mess that asks you not of your sense of adventure or even your wits, but instead your ability to listen and follow directions. You ask of us our ability to point something at something else and then walk towards it. You ask of us our willingness to get another bow and arrow, fight another boss with another giant glowing eyeball. I wonder how to fucking beat it. I fucking wonder, Skyward Sword. You ask of us to get a cat from the top of a roof and carry him over to some guy who says thank you. The Adventures of Link, Cat Delivery Man. Is that your title? What's the tagline in the ads? Cat's out of the bag and onto the roof. 10. No Wiimote motion issues here that could possibly cripple the entire experience. Best in the series. You're like a spoiled rich kid who gets everything bought for you your entire life. And then when it comes to making it on your own, you can't take it. You expect everyone to love you because you are who you are. Part of the illustrious Zelda lineage. Nothing could possibly be wrong with you. You look just like a Zelda. But you're not one. You're a pampered, doughy snob wearing nice clothes, expecting to graduate scot-free because your daddy's an alum. Why would you need to improve? Why would you need to get any better? Everyone just agrees with your shitty ideas because you're a Zelda. Fuck you, Skyward Sword. Fuck you! Now, as I spent 373,000 years writing this freaking video, a new Zelda game showed up that made everyone pee their pants. You know, except me, because I don't do that. It's weird. It was a direct sequel to Link to the Past, taking place in the same aesthetic world of Link to the Past. It's called A Link Between Worlds. And I love it. All right, look, it's worth mentioning that it does have nearly an entire formula ripped from a game, but it's fun. But why? Well, I feel partly because it has less wait time, but it's mostly because of the new mechanic, which is beautifully integrated to the point of feeling second nature, like jumping in a Mario game. On top of that, you have nooks and crannies around every turn that contain weird hidden stuff, and there's also this system of pay for an item that adds this interesting value to rupees that no other Zelda had. Not even Twilight Princess with its stupid weird fucking dumbass endgame magic not magic armor bullshit. Wow, look at that. Sure is expensive to die. Is what we're seeing a commentary on capitalist society and life insurance policies choking the life out of middle America? What's more, nearly every item in A Link Between Worlds has multiple uses aside from its, intended dungeon use, and has such a broad feel that they can all be upgraded to be even more useful. While it does eliminate the mystique of finding an item, it allows each dungeon to have a spoil that feels less like it's in tandem with the dungeon. Like it's a treasure that you can enjoy as a general adventurer. Not just as a house guest of fucking Mr. Vulnerable for a sec, glowy eyeball, McWeak to arrows. Why did I leave my one weakness laying around my house? Oh no! Ow! Jeez,
why is this window so far off of the wall?
I use that to see? So I think what I've been discussing this whole video doesn't seem like it applies much to this game at first glance, but it absolutely does. This game decided to switch up the Zelda formula from a different angle. And while it doesn't eliminate the Zelda staple items and constant reuse of existing enemies, it does something different in how you interact with all of them.
All of the windows like that?
And that something different works. It changed how you explore the world itself. How you find things and how you figure out things about the world around you. A stupid spinning dumbass top thing doesn't change anything. You find a track on a wall and you ride it. It's like a teleporter, but instead of being transported instantly, you just get there at normal speed. A double dumbass claw shot doesn't change anything. It just means instead of having to land on a platform and awkwardly aim to another claw shot target, you don't have to land on a platform when you awkwardly aim to another claw shot target. Thank God! But this shit, it changes how you view platforms, their relationship to one another, how you view distance, how you view the differences between low rule and high rule. It feels like you're exploring a world again, and the things you find are less important than the way that you find them. It's back to how it felt before. The reward was the fact that you did it, not that you found a thing. And you know what? I think this may be Nintendo's way of easing people into being open-minded about a shift in Zelda. I mean, look at this shit! What? Hyrule Warrior? What the fuck does that even mean? Look, what is going on? Holy crap! Oh my god, this big thing! Jeez, how could they ruin Zelda? How could they ruin my favorite thing? Yeah! I'm sure it's good. Hey, thanks for listening to me shout my opinion at you for fucking 30 minutes. I hope I can make you laugh and make you think, and not make you angry, because that wasn't my intention, but if I did, I'm sorry.
Now it's time for me to write my post-emptive counter-argument.
Alright, fine. You watch the video, that's only fair. I mean, I've been throwing my opinion at you for 30 friggin' minutes. Just because you might like Ocarina of Time and I don't, doesn't mean that you're not a beautiful person, because you are. Look at yourself. Oh, I would kiss you if I could. But I can't, I'm a cartoon. And hey, if you like Sequelitis, you can click that subscribe button right there, and that'll let you know when new Sequelitises are coming out. And hey...
So, Joe Port Games did Zelda Sequelitis Rebuttal 4 years ago. That was 2 years after the initial Sequelitis. So let's just see what they have to say. I am really curious what other people think.
About 2 years ago, Aaron Hansen aka Egoraptor put out a video called Sequelitis, Zelda, A Link to the Past vs. Ocarina of Time. This is a video where Aaron, can I call you Aaron? I'm gonna call you Aaron. Anyway, Aaron expresses his opinions of Ocarina of Time, which are mostly negative. This was highly controversial. If you know anything about video games, you'll know that Ocarina of Time is considered by many to be the greatest game of all time.
It's a game considered by most to be a masterpiece.
But this guy disagrees, so he made a video explaining why he disagrees. Now, as someone who loves Ocarina, I'd like to make my rebuttal video in response. Why am I doing this 2 years after the video came out? I don't fucking know. Anyway, I'll be going over most of this video and his arguments, and offer my opinion on them. What I'm not going to do is say that Aaron is wrong for disliking this game. It's fine that he doesn't like it. Nobody has to like anything. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, even controversial ones. Aaron has every right to express his opinion on this game. Conversely, I have every right to express my opinion on his video. Now before we start, I'd just like to say that Aaron is a person I both admire and respect, and have watched his stuff since I was very young.
Ow.
He's part of the reason I decided to make my own YouTube channel. So this is not going to be an attack on him or his opinions, just simply a respectful rebuttal. So without further ado, let's get started. So Aaron starts out by talking about the very first Zelda, a game I personally don't much care for. He talks about how it's not really clear who you are or what you're doing, and you just kind of explore this world at your own pace.
You're just a green dude. Walk to a cave. Old dude goes, hey, take this. You're like, okay, it's a sword. You swing it at monsters that shoot rocks and shit at you, and you have a great time killing them. You figure if there's a cave I get a sword in, there must be other caves to get other shit in, right? Maybe other swords? I don't know. This world's neat.
And while I actually agree that that's really cool, what he doesn't mention is how cryptic and confusing everything is. There's a lot of shit you couldn't possibly figure out on your own, like which bush to burn to access a certain dungeon. In a previous Sequelitis, he talks about conveyance, and how you need to kind of guide the player.
The term used a lot for this concept is conveyance, and I think that's a fitting name. I mean, haven't you ever been playing a game and you're just like, what do I do? Where do I go? That's what I'm talking about. That's bad conveyance.
I find it interesting that he doesn't bring it up here, when the game is severely lacking in conveyance. Anyway, he quickly glosses over another game I don't like and moves on to Link to the Past. He talks about how you're given more of a goal, and you have a mission laid out for you.
But if a game is telling you to do specific things with marks on a map and a sequence of which things to do and specific instructions, you're not discovering a world. You're being taken on a tour. You're no longer a pioneer adventurer, you're a guest at Disneyland.
He makes the point that the original Zelda and Link to the Past are very different, which is true. He also says he doesn't know which style is better, but the point is that they're not the same.
But it's not the same!
I would argue that Link to the Past is much better, but I'll save that for another video. Right now, we're about to get into the meat of this video. Aaron's first point about Ocarina is how the addition of a Z-axis makes enemies like the bats much harder to hit, since they are, I quote,
they're up, down, every fucking where.
This leads us to Z-targeting, which he says creates a disconnect from the world around you.
Z-targeting creates a strange disconnect from the world around you.
I actually disagree with this, but I'll explain why in a minute. He also says it creates two modes of gameplay, combat and world exploration. I agree with this one, but his next statement I have a couple problems with.
This is the combat piece, this is the world exploring piece. They don't mix.
First off, he doesn't do a great job explaining what he means by this. Why don't they mix? He says that you can't explore the room and fight simultaneously, but I would say that you don't really need to. Usually when you enter a room, you can see most of what's going on and make a note of where any obstacles are before fighting. For example, in the Forest Temple, there's a Stalfos you have to fight in a room with a pit, but you see the pit as soon as you enter the room. Then, once you lock onto the Stalfos, you have to keep in mind where the pit is so you don't fall in. It's a really interesting fight, and personally, I think it discredits his argument that Z-targeting disconnects you from the world. Sure, it changes your view, but you still need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to make a mental note of where things are in the room before you lock on. And in my previous example, you can usually see the pit before you fall in. I find it weird that he actually chose to show this exact fight when saying how it creates a disconnect.
Z-targeting creates a strange disconnect from the world around you.
To me, this shows the exact opposite. Earlier, he says that Z-targeting changes your entire outlook and focus.
It changes the camera angle from what you're used to exploring the world in, and that shifts your entire focus and outlook.
And maybe that's true for him, but for me, I can still be aware of the world around me while I'm focused on an enemy. So in my opinion, the combat and world exploring do mix. His next point is that it makes bats and things less fun to kill and annoying, but I don't think so. While I don't think they're particularly fun, I don't think they're all that tedious either. He shows footage of him in a situation where there are a bunch of bats and enemies, but usually you have an opportunity to kill the bats before fighting any other enemies. It seems like it's his fault he's in these situations because he's not paying attention. And if Game Grumps has taught me anything, it's that Aaron has a bit of trouble paying attention to details. Next, he talks about how there's a lot of waiting in the game, specifically when it comes to enemies. He shows that most enemies have a period of time where they don't do anything and you just have to wait for an opening.
There is so much goddamn waiting. In Ocarina, every enemy has a period where they just stand around and do fucking nothing, and attacking them during this time is useless. Deku Scrubs, Stalfos, Lizardmen, Skulltulas, Wolf Dudes, Gerudos, Clams?
He says that lots of fights could have been a lot more complex.
I love that.
And I actually agree with him here. Waiting isn't hard to do and isn't interesting or fun. I think this mechanic is very overused and combat could have been a lot deeper. But he makes this out to be a much bigger deal than I think it actually is. See, combat isn't the main focus of the game. It's more about exploring and solving puzzles. Combat is kind of secondary. And while I do agree that combat could have been more interesting, it doesn't really take that much away from the game in my opinion. And it's usually not too long that you have to wait. It's usually only a few seconds. Whether or not this is tolerable or annoying is up to you, but personally, I didn't think it was that bad. He then talks about one of my favorite enemies in the game, the Iron Knuckle. He talks about how you have to be aware of the world while you're fighting, and that it makes it really fun and interesting. I agree with him on that, but I also think this is done other places than just this. There are lots of times where you have to be aware of your surroundings while fighting, and it makes for interesting battles.
I hate this part.
Anyway, the next statement is another one that I have a problem with.
In any case, the nature of Z-targeting forced Zelda to be more combat-centric, and with it, the world was forced to change.
Like I said earlier, I don't think combat is really a major part of this game, except for bosses. He seems to think that combat is a much bigger part of the game than I thought it was.
You're Gandalf's
I always
servant.
felt that it was secondary.
Hear my name and tremble. I'm Link.
Speaking of puzzles, his next point is actually how some of the puzzles in the game don't give you all the pieces at once. And he's somewhat right. Some of the puzzles require you to either look around or have a certain item to pass. Let's talk about looking around first. This isn't really that hard of a puzzle, but worse in a 3D game. Sometimes you need to stop and look around to find solutions, which I personally don't think is a bad thing. It creates a cool connection to the world. So
let me go through this cutscene here. What? Your name is also Link? Then you must be the legendary Dodongo Buster and hero Link. My dad is Darunia. You remember him? Dad named me Link after you because you're so brave. It's a cool name. I really like it. Link, you're a hero to us Gorons. I'm so glad to meet you. Please give me your autograph. Sign it to my friend, Link of the Gorons. Oh, I guess it's not a good time to ask you for this. Please help everyone. My dad Darunia went to the fire temple. The dragon is inside. If we don't hurry up, even my dad will be eaten by the dragon. Better try to calm down. Hey, skip that. Let's ask about the dragon. A long time ago, there was an evil dragon named Volfagia living in this mountain. The dragon was very scary. He ate Gorons. Using a huge hammer, the hero of the Gorons, boom! Destroyed it just like that. This is a myth from long ago, but it's true. I know, because my dad is a descendant of the hero. Yeah. About to go on. There we go. Everybody was taken to the fire temple. When my dad was out, Ganondorf's followers came and took them all away. All of them will be eaten by Volvagia. Dad said that Ganondorf has revived Volvagia. As a warning to those who might oppose him, Ganondorf is going to feed them all to Volvagia. Dad went to the fire temple all by himself to try to save everyone. Please help, Link. I'll give you this heat-resistant tunic. Yeah, go on, tunic! The heat resistance is adult-sized. Now I gotta go interact with Sheik. Then we'll be in the fire temple and I can turn the video back on. So that we can continue to see his argument. I mean, I will say, you know, not to, you know, slam the person, you know, not to slam this guy. You know, his points are, you know, as he said at the beginning of his video, you know, his points are just as valid as Aaron's points are. You know, they're still just as much his opinion as anything else, and that's perfectly fine. I do agree with Aaron more that the waiting is obnoxious. And it really takes you out of the game, constantly having to wait on enemies. But if he thinks, you know, if this, what was this guy? Joe Port Games. If he thinks that made it more interesting, then fine, you know. There's something that grows over time, a true friendship. A feeling in the heart that becomes even stronger over time. The passion of friendship will soon blossom into a righteous power, and through it you will know which way to go. The song is dedicated to the power of the heart. Listen to the bolero of fire. I will say that one thing I dislike about Ocarina of Time that A Link to the Past did better is the warp system. In Link to the Past, you can pull out the flute, you hit the button, you select a place to go, and then that's it. You know, there's like 9 warp points, and you just go there. And here in Ocarina of Time, it's like, hey, you know, you've got one freaking warp point. You've got the 6 warp points, but each warp point is like, you know, its own song, and so you have to like memorize all these songs in order to like be able to get anywhere. It becomes really frustrating and annoying. But I absolutely will agree with Aaron 100% that, you know, they created a precedence, they created a formula, and once they had created the formula, it was like, oh, well, now we have to stick to that. And that formula wasn't very good to begin with, and then they just stuck to that formula, and that did not help. That said, yeah, there are obviously other games that have stuck to the formula, and I do like them. It's mostly just Ocarina of Time I have an issue with. But we can keep listening to what Joe has to say, because I'm curious.
We talked about this game not having earlier. Next, let's discuss requiring a certain item. I'm not particularly fond of this kind of puzzle either, but they don't happen very often in this game. Usually, you have everything you need to solve the puzzle. He actually shows quite a few of these in the video. Again, weird choice of footage. He also talks about how in the original Zelda, you would walk into a room and then have to defeat all the enemies to progress. And I'm actually going to pull an out-of-context quote from his video to describe this puzzle.
Is that a puzzle? Like, seriously, is that a puzzle?
How is simply fighting off enemies a puzzle? Maybe he wasn't showing this off as a puzzle per se, but he was talking about puzzles just before this, which leads me to believe he was showing this off as a puzzle. Personally, I thought this part of the game was really frustrating and hard, and didn't enjoy it.
I will agree to that.
His next...
It's grown so big since I last saw you. I want to have a man-to-man talk with you, but now's not the time. Hendorf is causing trouble on Death Mountain again. He's revived the evil ancient dragon Volvagia. Forgot about this scene, otherwise I would have just waited. Top of that, he's going to feed my people to that evil dragon and is warning to other races that might resist him. That fire-breathing dragon escapes from the mountain, all of Hyrule will become a burning wasteland. I will go on ahead to try to seal up the evil dragon. I'm concerned, though, because I don't have the legendary hammer. I have no choice. Link, I'm asking you to do this as my sworn brother. While I'm trying to deal with the dragon, please save my people. Prisoner cells are in the opposite direction. I'm counting on you, Link.
Next point is one that he says he would retract if he can make the video again, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. He talks about the spiky death pucks that circle around in certain rooms, and complains about how you can't see them coming.
But sliding spiked death pucks coming out from around the corner you can't see is just bad fucking design.
However, pretty much every time these things are in a room, you get a chance to see them before you're in their path. This means that you need to be aware of them while you're moving and fighting, and again creates a cool connection to the environment. If you have a good sense of object permanence, you can usually avoid these guys if you're paying attention. A little later in the video, he actually says this.
Like some kind of enemy that'll circle around you and you just gotta time your jump across.
Isn't this pretty much what the spiky pucks are? You have to time when to move through their path to avoid getting hit. What's the difference? Next he talks about bomb bowling and Skyward Sword, which I won't comment on since I haven't played much Skyward Sword. But I will talk about the problem he has with the way you open chests. His complaint is that it takes too long and that instead of Link being amazed, the player should get to be amazed. This feels like a bad case of Aaron being impatient. It really isn't that long until you get to see the item you got, and it's kinda cool to build up the suspense. Whether you like the suspense is up to you, but I really don't think it takes that long.
It takes like 10 seconds.
How it creates suspense and a through line.
That's a long time in a video game.
Personally, I think the system of getting an item that lets you progress through the dungeon and beat the boss instead of a key accomplishes the same thing. And he actually criticizes the system of getting an item and then using it on the boss.
Please tell me what about this world is interesting if I know, before I even finish the dungeon, what the boss battle's gonna be. Oh, I got a slingshot. Maybe I hit some big glowing object with a slingshot. Oh, a mirror shield that lets me reflect light at stuff. Maybe the boss is gonna be a dude that I gotta reflect light at.
But doesn't that also create through line and expectations and a connection to the player and the dungeon and all that? Maybe I missed the point, but I think it accomplishes the same thing. Next he talks about waiting, which again, isn't really as much as he makes it out to be. Waiting for a music tone to play that's like less than 2 seconds isn't a big deal to most people. He also talks about how switching worlds is kind of a big hassle.
How fucking long does it take to switch between worlds?
Well, you don't do it near as much as you do in Link to the Past. Once you're an adult, you spend most of your time in the adult world, only switching to kid mode occasionally. Then he has a kind of out-of-place statement that again I disagree with. Take a listen.
You should never, ever hit that point where you're like, I'll check that room later. In a game about checking rooms!
No, I don't actually disagree with the statement itself, but I just never felt this way about Ocarina.
I
was always excited to check each and every room. It never got annoying to me. Next, he talks about getting items in dungeons that let you progress and beat the boss. But I've already talked about this one, so I'll move on. His next topic is how the game is about quote-unquote
jumping through hoops! Superman 64!
What he means by this, I think, is that you have to complete tasks in order to unlock more of the world. His complaint is that there isn't much exploring, but I don't think this is a bad thing. It's just something Aaron happened to not like. And there is some exploring, it's just not enough for him, I suppose. Now, it's fine that he wanted there to be more exploring, but calling this game objectively bad because it didn't meet your expectations is, in my opinion, not right. Anyway, a little later, he cites the fact that in Link to the Past, you have to beat a boss with an item you get in a random cave outside the dungeon as good game design. This, in my opinion, is actually not very good game design. It leads to a lot of confusion. Every other boss is beatable with items you get in the dungeon. It's inconsistent and confuses the player. Next, Aaron talks about how Ocarina gives you a story and context for what you're doing.
Ocarina's story provides you with a context to your quest.
He seems to think this is a bad thing, and the game should rely on the fact that the player wants to adventure and quest and stuff.
But it refuses to acknowledge the player's innate sense of wonder and drive to quest and fight.
These are two different ways of making a game, and he seems to think that one is right and one is wrong. Now personally, I think there's room for both. Sometimes I actually want the story and context and stuff. I actually like that kind of thing. But I also like more Dark Souls.
I'm just gonna skip over these Gorons.
Relying on the player's drive. But the point I'm making is that
don't
neither
need to
one
talk
is right
to
or wrong.
them to progress.
They're just different ways to make a game. It's up to you which one you like more. But I don't think you can just declare that one is right and one is wrong. I don't think having lots of dialogue and story elements devalues the game at all. For me, it makes the world feel more alive. This particular point is probably my biggest problem with the video. Not because he's wrong to dislike the story elements, but I'm bothered by the fact that he presents that way of making games as just wrong. There is no right or wrong when it comes to art. That's the beauty of it. So it really irks me when people try to say that there's a specific way you should make art. Just because a certain individual didn't like a certain piece of art doesn't mean it was made incorrectly. Aaron also speaks for all players in this part of the video, when really, he should have just been speaking for himself.
Nobody cares!
He talks about involving characters in different ways by having a Goron be your partner and have a health bar and stuff, but personally, I think this would be really annoying. Now, does that make it wrong? No, I just don't like it. And that's really my big problem with this video as a whole. While I disagree with some of his opinions, he's not wrong to have them. What I think is wrong is to present those opinions as if they're facts. Now, as someone who makes opinionated videos, I realize this is very easy to do, and he probably didn't do it on purpose.
Just because you might like Ocarina of Time and I don't, doesn't mean that you're not a beautiful person.
But regardless, I still think it's wrong to present your opinions in such a forceful and black and white manner. But despite all the criticism I made in this video, I still have a great deal of respect and admiration for Aaron and his work. He's someone with a lot of passion for what he does, and I have a lot of respect for people.
How do I get out of here?
Not to mention he's really funny and seems like a genuinely great guy. Aaron,
well, I missed that key. How do I get out of here?
And from one creator to another.
I don't think I usually miss that key.
I watch Game Grumps religiously, and you're one of my idols. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Oh my god. Just want to jump. You can't. Nope. You can't. You cannot jump there. How do I get out of this? How do I leave? Oh, okay. It's actually... No? I can't climb this. Like, that seems like what I'm supposed to do, is climb that to get out of there. Now I'm just stuck down here. Did they mess up, like, create in this, like, did they make this too steep for Link to actually climb up even though he's supposed to be able to? Here's a complaint I've never seen anybody make. But I also don't think I've ever hit this before. Oh my god, yeah, it's too steep. The game sees it as too steep for him to climb, even though this is very clearly designed for him to be able to climb up. I am stuck. Like, I legitimately am stuck. Can I play the Bolero of Fire and teleport out of the dungeon, or am I actually stuck? Okay. Well, that was annoying. I missed the key and I could not get back. Let's go ahead and drop the YouTube there, because I don't need it now. That was really annoying, actually. But no, I agree in a lot of ways with Aaron. I will agree a little bit with Joe there. one thing Aaron said was all the good stuff about A Link to the Past there, and while I don't dislike A Link to the Past, I like A Link to the Past more than Ocarina of Time, so I will say that much. I still don't know if I would put it in my top 10. And no, I've mentioned it before, but Ocarina of Time doesn't even come close to being in my top 10 Zelda games. And there's only like 18 of them out. So that's like really sad. Like you don't even make top 50, 50% of the video games that are out, That's just because Ocarina of Time just has way too many problems. That and while I'm not gonna slam Ocarina of Time for this, Ocarina of Time has way too many problems that the community, the Zelda community sees as good. That when they were planning to remake it for the 3DS, the devs of Ocarina of Time 3D were legitimately afraid of changing things. Because they were scared that, people would be upset about, a change in the game. And that people would be like, well, I don't like the fact that they changed this. And we can see that... No, my voice... We can see that in Majora's Mask, where they did make changes. And a lot of the community got upset about many of those changes. And when it comes to Majora's Mask, I will say that a lot of those changes, it's fair to be upset about a lot of those changes. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I don't think, whoops, sorry kitty, that they needed to change, all of the different fights to include the Majora Eye thing like they did. That, I did not like that aspect. It took some of the bosses that I did enjoy and made them not as fun, When you do Goat, the entire mechanic behind the Goat fight is just that you're sitting there, rolling around. And with the... Oh my god. With the inclusion of the eye there, it's okay, nope. Hey, you got your Hylian tunic back, or your shield back, and your tunic back, and we have to show a big cutscene for that. Again, I will absolutely agree with Aaron on the waiting. That was the whole thing that was oh, I should, play the sequel latest. Because 100% I agree with that, there's so much freaking waiting in this game that it's just not fun. And, all other, Zelda games still do that. I think even Breath of the Wild, I don't, Breath of the Wild doesn't do it as much. When you open chests, I think, in Breath of the Wild, I think that's pretty much instantaneous. It's been a while since I played Breath of the Wild. I'd have to, replay it to be able to say for sure. But, in Breath of the Wild, it's you get an item, and that's that. You don't fight. You don't sit there and wait for it to be oh, look at this. And I can't. Well, I can understand, Joe's point where he was like, I don't see this as an issue, Oh my God, this. It's like, Joe's thing was like, well, it's not that big of an issue because, when you think about it, like, the, it builds suspense, and I understand that, and I can see that argument that yes, it builds that kind of suspense. Ooh, what is it, But also, ooh, what is it for a dungeon map? Ooh, what is it for a compass? Every single time. Ooh, what is it for a small key? When you get like 50 of them throughout the whole game, that there is such a thing as just too much. And I can agree with both arguments. I can agree with Aaron on the suspense. It doesn't really feel as suspenseful as it's supposed to be. But I can also agree with Joe on that. There is, like, it does build some level of suspense. And on that, I feel like Aaron probably was pushing more for the constant waiting. Like, that's why he says, there's so much waiting. Because there is. This enemy makes you wait. That enemy makes you wait. This chest makes you wait. Every time you get that chest, it makes you wait. You already know what the item is going to be. Yet the game makes you wait in suspense. Charlie. I think that's he's not feeling good, meow. It doesn't sound like his normal, hey, I'm bored, meow. Which is usually a soft meow, meow. Yeah, meow. Which is usually his, like, there's something stuck in my throat, I don't feel good kind of noise. So. But there's just a lot that could be said about Ocarina of Time and whether or not the game is good or not is entirely subjective. There is no way to objectively say yes, this game is good, no, this game is not good. Because everybody has a different play style. Everybody has something different that they enjoy. Aaron saying like, the story doesn't complement the game. Hang on. Thank you, game. I don't know what that was about. It kind of doesn't really. Ocarina of Time story doesn't really complement it very well. Because there's so much. Ocarina of Time tried to do so much with such a limited capability. One of the things that I like better about Majora's Mask is that it did way better. Majora's Mask did so much more with so much less. Ocarina of Time attempted to be this grandiose, thing, and I feel like that's where oh my god. I feel like that's where I get annoyed at Ocarina of Time. Is Ocarina of Time tried to be so much more than it is. And because it was the first 3D game, you know, oh my god, I have to go back to all this, don't I? Because it tried, here's a legitimate complaint. Why is this puzzle not just automatically solved for me after I've already solved it? Or is it automatically solved already? I'm confused. Maybe it is. That's weird. It wasn't last time. Oh yeah. Huh. It wasn't last time. That's weird. Like, you push the block over and down and solve this puzzle, and then, like, the door wasn't there. But still, like, I have to go through all of this all over again. But this dungeon is not very good. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Here's like exactly what I was just saying. Like, I have to do this entire thing again because I fell. Like, why is this not, like, I've done this puzzle. Why does this reset? You know? So I have to go over here, I have to jump, I have to push the block, and the block takes forever to push, by the way. Like, this is another thing about the waiting. Like, these things, like, it takes so long to push that. And then you come down here, and then you still can't make this jump. So now you have to pull this. And, you know, now I can make the jump. So now I can come up here, I can make this jump, and climb up here. But now, I have to do this again. Whoa, camera. And there's another thing. The camera just suddenly being like, oh, time for me to reset. Like, the game returning to you should be part of the, like, do-do-do-do-do-do, you know, showing, oh, look, you solved the puzzle, then go back to you, then give you control. Not, oh, here's what you did, now let me give you control while I zoom back, and if you so much as touch the controller while I'm zooming back, the camera's gonna freak out. You know, like, the camera is so bad in this game. It is so bad. Like, say what you will about Super Mario 64's camera, that was terrible. But at least with the Super Mario 64 camera, you had control to some degree. This game, you have none. Like, look at this. Like, I get that it's looking down so that I can see the maze and, like, the rocks and stuff, but, like, you saw earlier where it just, like, because I was just in a spot that the game registered as a place where the camera was down, I couldn't do anything. And I had to wait as I very slowly crossed that teeny tiny thing. Oh no, the fire is coming! Like, the fire could have just popped up behind you, and that would have been it. And, like, future games do that. But in this game, it's like, nope. Have to show you a cutscene to tell you that, you know, the fire that's on the front of, like, it covers the camera the moment it pops up. I have to show you a cutscene to tell you the fire is there, you know? It's like, this is not necessary. I need to actually jump over this spot here. Oh no, the fire! But like, oh, I guess I'm not in a room that's protected from the fire? That makes no sense. Like, yeah, I guess the fire is chasing me even in this room that's completely sealed off from the rest of the thing. Because that makes sense. whatever. And it's the constant backtracking. And the water temple is like the epitome of backtracking in this game. It's like you gotta backtrack to hit that. And look at it, like, we've seen the fire come up already, game. We understand that the fire is going to come up there. Like, Link doesn't need to be surprised that the fire is going to erupt behind him when he jumps up there, because we've seen it happen already. You know? So every time you add a cutscene that makes you wait to see, oh look, this thing is happening, it adds time that is not necessary. Especially if A, the cutscene is not skippable, and B, if that cutscene plays every single time. And we won't even talk about Navi. Now, if we were talking about your companion, like, okay, so now that I've done that, now I've got a shortcut here, right? So now, like, oh, this puzzle isn't solved again, so this is fine. But I solved that puzzle earlier, I got through the thing, I fell because of a teeny tiny little platform, I had to do it all over again. Like, throw that platform after the shortcut, not before. You know? It's like, you did the puzzle, you shouldn't need to do it again. And that's a thing that's in, like, the... You know, as bad as the original Zelda and Zelda 2 are, gameplay-wise, like, that's the thing in those games. Once you solved the puzzle, that was it. You didn't have to solve it again. You blew up that wall, guess what? That wall is now always exploded. You know? Doesn't matter if you died, it doesn't matter if you leave the dungeon and come back. That wall is always exploded, you know? Now, yes, if you had to defeat enemies, you know, and I'll agree, that really isn't a puzzle, defeat all the enemies. But it was a common trope in the original Zelda, and it's still a trope in regular, you know, in modern Zelda games, where it's like, oh, here's a room, clear all the enemies, you know, and it's a weird mechanic, but it is what it is, you know. Maybe instead of having iron barred doors, you can have some kind of like magic door. You know, some kind of door that's like locked by a magical like barrier. And it's like, oh yeah, now you can do that, you know. And that would make sense. Also, here's the fire again. Because, you know, I didn't see that the fire was coming at me the first 4 times I did this room. I need to see that again. And that's one of my biggest complaints of Ocarina of Time. And that's why I 100% agree with Aaron on the waiting. Because, you know, as you know, Joe puts it, he goes, it's only a couple of seconds. Yes, but a couple of seconds adds up very fast. And I'm like, random Z targets so that Navi can be like, hey, look here. Notice that that's the room below. It's like, I could have just, like, come in here, seen, oh, hey, there's, like, a grate here. I wonder what's down there. Oh, hey, that looks like that room. Like, I don't need Navi to Z-target and tell me that that's the room down there. You know? It's... I feel like one of the things that Nintendo did with Ocarina of Time was that they did what a lot of people nowadays refer to as hand-holding. You know, they took the game and said, oh, you know, the last few games were full of puzzles, and we saw that people had difficulty with some of those puzzles. So let's just tell you the answers to those puzzles, instead of, letting you figure it out. Ow. And that's a big problem that modern Zelda games have. Not just Ocarina of Time, but like all modern Zelda games have. Is that they give you a puzzle, but then they treat you like you're too dumb to be able to figure it out. And so not only do they give you the puzzle, but they give you the solution. You know? And if there's one thing that I don't like when the developers do, it's when they treat you like you're dumb. You know? Yes, give us the puzzle and give us all the clues to it. You know? Give us the ability to absolutely 100% see the answer. But don't tell us the answer, you know? It would be like, you're let's say you're doing a connect the dots puzzle. And instead of the connect the dots puzzles telling you, hey, connect the dots to find out what it is, the connect the dots puzzle says, hey, connect the dots to find out what it is. By the way, it's a car. Like, okay, but now I have no reason to do the puzzle because I already know, you know? It's like, why would I connect the dots to see the car if I already know it's a car? You know? Usually I do this with the Bigoron sword. But I didn't get the Bigoron sword because I didn't want to do that whole quest while watching with sequelitis. Because there's so much dialogue. Plus then I still have to get like Epona and stuff. I'm just like, meh. And then like this is another problem. That I honestly can't think of a single 2D Zelda game ever having. Where you attack an enemy, but because they're in the middle of some animation, you just can't hit them. Boom. It's like, why? It's like, I grab the thing, I pull it towards me. I should be able to immediately start hacking and slashing at it. Why do I have to wait for it to stop bouncing in front of me, grow legs, and start running away before I can swing my sword at it, you know? And again, it comes down to the waiting. It's just there's stuff that you wait on for no reason at all. And it's so obnoxious. I get that people like Ocarina of Time. I don't get that people think it's the best Zelda game. Seriously. Oh look, I get to do all that all over again. This is just way too punishing. Just way too punishing. Whoa, that was close. And that is way too freaking small of a window. Like, you get there just barely every time. If you get hit at all, you're very lucky if you get through that. There's just way too little of a time there. And now I've got to do this thing again, where I run around, I climb. Like, this is where I think the Zelda team was like, hey, you know, we have this Z-axis now that we can do. So let's make these giant freaking dungeons that just go up. And you see that in both the fire temple and the water temple, where they're like, let's just make a dungeon that just goes up. And it's really obnoxious, to say the least. Oh my god, my stupid control. I'm so done. That wasn't even my fault. I'm already so done. I'm not even at the water temple and I'm already so done with this game. Oh my god. I may have to rethink my opinion of this game versus the Oracle games. Because at the moment in my list of Zelda games, the Oracle games are the only ones below Ocarina of Time. I may have to rethink my list. Because I'm so done. I mean, it's taken me this long to be so done with this game, admittedly. Usually with the Oracle games, I'm so done by the 3rd dungeon. This is the, what, 5th dungeon? But I'm already so done. And the knowledge that the water temple is still ahead. The worst dungeon in, Zelda history. That still looms over my head. Oh my god. Hey, guess what? I'm gonna push the switch. It's gonna show me how to get up there. That's another thing. They could have just zoomed up straight to the chest and been like, hey, look, this chest opened. But instead, they show you how to get there. They answer the puzzle for you before you have even had a chance to consider the puzzle. Press C to smash and break junk. Whatever, I don't even care. Freaking Megaton hammer. Bonk. 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 And the bats. I have never had a good experience with the bats. It's like you kill one bat, and then all of a sudden it's like your Z targeting just decides, oh, you know what? I don't feel like, targeting to the next enemy. And it just decides to go all squirrely all of a sudden. That's not even on the button, is it? Nope. Like, I get it. This was the first 3D Zelda game. For a lot of people, it was their first Zelda game. Which, I will admit, I don't get the joy of saying that. Switch looks rested. Again, they solved the puzzle for you before you even have a chance. It's like they straight up tell you, hey, this switch you can't just, step on. They could have just let you step on it. See, oh, wait, this one doesn't push down. Maybe if I use the thing that, I can use to slam things, maybe that will work. Teach by example. That's not what that's not the word. But like, teach by, showing me what to do, not by telling me what to do. Oh, hey, here's this switch that I've never seen before, but I just got this item that its literal purpose is smashing things. Clearly, I can't push the switch down by foot. So maybe I should try smashing it. Like, that would just be your obvious... maybe that's just me, but that just seems like the obvious, thought pattern. And this is an example of the waiting. There's 3 things that you have to hit there. And each time you hit one, you have to wait for it to go flying away. And then disappear. And then once it's done that, then you can begin to push the next one. When in reality, it could just be one block. You hit it, and boom. That's that. You hit it, the thing opens. Get this cool smash of the statue animation. Like other Zelda games have done since. Well, Serene, you're saying, Zelda games have done that since. That wasn't back then, yes, but it's called... They realized that this was a flaw. And not a good thing. They looked at Ocarina of Time, found its flaws. They looked at the game and they realized, hey, this flaw exists, we need to fix that in later games. But some of these flaws don't even make sense as original ideas for good design. Like, again, here I am slashing at this guy. I should have hit him like 4 times there. But instead, I have to wait for his animation to finish. Of him bouncing, and then grow legs, and then start to run away. And then I can hit him. Why can't I hit him when he's right there in front of me? And you can see I'm making contact, and the game is even registering that there's contact being made. But there's no damage being done because he's in an animation. And that animation, you know, they can't just have you hit him during an animation. For some reason. Why? It makes no sense. Also, I never did figure out where the compass was. Oh well. Guess we're going compassless this game. Or this dungeon. Like, I already know this is the boss key. You got the boss key! Like, that's the same chest that was in the forest temple. I know it's the boss key. I see it and I go, oh hey, that's the boss key. So why do I need ooh, let's build suspense. What is it? Oh, what is it? Could it be the boss key? Yes. Clearly. I could already tell you it was the boss key. I hadn't even opened the chest yet. Because that's what the boss key chest looks like. Because you made that chest look unique. Which was a good idea. But also, you made it look unique. So I know it's the boss key. So I don't need a suspense, oh what is it, because I know what it is already. Is it the dungeon map, is it the compass, or is it the dungeon item? That's the suspense that it creates when you do the three other big chests. Which one is it? Is it going to be the dungeon item? Is it going to be the dungeon map? Is it going to be the compass? After one or two of those, you go, okay, just give me the stupid map, compass, whatever it is that you're giving me here. Because it becomes obnoxious. Also, I only recently learned that you can do this. So you can actually, like, pull out the shield and it blocks his dragon breath. I only recently learned that. Do I even have any fairies or did I use them all? No, I still have one, okay. And, you know, Joe mentions, Joe there mentioned Aaron's impatience. He mentions, like, if watching Game Grumps has taught me anything, the sequelitis was done before they had even started Game Grumps, though. Also, seriously? Most of Aaron's impatience on Game Grumps is entertainer impatience, as opposed to legitimate, like, gamer impatience. When you're doing something for YouTube, or, streaming on Twitch or something, one of the big things that you have to worry about is making it entertaining. How do you make something interesting when half of your episode is spent sitting there, half of your stream, half of your episode, half of your whatever is spent sitting there with da 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 da, or the freaking Stalfos where you've got to sit there and wait for them to be available to hit, How do you make that entertaining? That's different from standard gaming impatience. And sure, again, for some people, it's not a big deal. But I just don't see it as interesting. You know, it takes up time. And if speedrunners have taught me anything, even a second is a lot of time. You know, speedrunners will play the Japanese version of Ocarina of Time. Okay, well, I thought you could do that. Speedrunners will play the It does. What the heck? It does work. Japanese players will play Ocarina of Time in Japanese because the text is 1 second faster. You know, when somebody says, well, it's 1 or 2 seconds, that's a big deal for some people. 1 or 2 seconds can be a huge difference. You know? And yes, maybe for the general gamer, that's not a big deal. As a general gamer sometimes, but as an entertaining gamer most of the time, a few seconds that builds up several times is a problem to me. Got him. I was really concerned I was about to die there. I was like, how, like, I've got 1 heart left, what the heck? I'm having the worst time with this game because of this controller, like, oh my god. This would not be as bad if I were playing on, like, the GameCube or, like, an N64, but playing with the Xbox controller, like, the Xbox controller is, like, the control sticks are horrible. Like, I have never seen a worse control stick than this. Like, I hate this controller so much. And this isn't even an Xbox, it's Xbox 360. You would have thought they would have figured it out by now. But no, this is an Xbox 360 controller, and it's horrible. I hate it. I hate everything about it. Like, everything. I hate everything about it. 100%. Like, I keep having a problem where if I hold in one direction to use the item, when I let go, it flicks just enough to go the opposite direction and register that I'm hitting a different button. You know, if I hold right C, and then I let it go, it'll flick over to left C and register as that being active. And it's like, what the heck? Thank you, brother. I really appreciate what you did. I thank you on behalf of the entire Goron race. You turned out to be a real man, just as I thought you would. By the way, I, the Wild Darunia, turned out to be the great Sage of Fire. Isn't that funny, brother? Well, this must be what they call destiny. Nothing has made me happier than helping you seal the evil here. Hey, brother. Take this. This is a medallion that contains the power of the fire spirits and my friendship. And this whole, like, getting the medallion thing, like, they don't do anything. Like, there's so much in this game that's very clear that it was meant to be something, and then last minute it was removed. Because there's no way this game released with this much stuff that is just there for no reason. Receive the fire medallion. Darunia awakens the sage and adds his power to yours. The overworld is giant and completely empty because they were meant to have, and Shigeru Miyamoto has said this, they meant to have horse combat. But it just didn't get implemented because it just didn't work. So instead of removing the giant overworld that has nothing, that was meant for that, they just left it. They kept in these medallions that do nothing. And, you know, long cutscenes of you getting the medallions that do nothing. Because they were originally going to do something, but then didn't. But they left it in anyway. And there is so much of that in this game. There's so much. This was obviously going to be something and do something, and then it released without. But let's just not bother to change it. I'll sell you some bombs. You can't have this now. Come back. I must be full up on bombs. Which is fine. I didn't mean to buy them anyway. Knock it off. Leave me alone. I'll sell you arrows. There's nothing even here. These guys are worthless. Then I'll sell you Deku Nuts. These guys are worthless. What was the point? Oh look, it's a secret that leads you to 3 Deku Sprouts. Excuse me, 3 business Deku that don't even sell you anything that you need. Like, you can't even say, oh, well, that's in case you need them for the dungeon, because you had to have done the dungeon. Because you needed the Megaton Hammer to get to them. Great Fairy Wisdom. Gonna enhance your magic power. Save it now. Oh, I thought this was the other spell. Nope, it's just the double magic meter, which is fine. I need the double magic meter is good. I just thought it was the spell, but no, that's in freaking Gerudo Desert. Magic meter is enhanced. Your magic power has been enhanced. Now you have twice as much magic power. When battle has made you weary, please come back to see me. Another example of what I mean. Light Medallion. There was clearly a Temple of Light. Forest Medallion. Fire Medallion. Water Medallion. Spirit Medallion. Shadow Medallion. If we're going around in the circle, the Spirit Temple is first. Yet, in the finished product, the Shadow Temple is first, before the Spirit Temple. There's so much to this game that's unfinished that it's ridiculous. And I think that's why I don't like the remake. Like, why I think Ocarina of Time 3D is so bad. Because the game is unfinished. Even Shigeru Miyamoto has gone on record to say that the game was unfinished. And that if he had the chance to, remake the game and change the game and enhance it, he would. And then he did have that chance. And then they didn't. And so then Ocarina of Time 3D, which should have been like the ultimate Ocarina of Time experience, is unfinished. And no better than its predecessor. Despite the fact that there's absolutely no reason for that. The game should have been better. But it was exactly the same game. Heck, maybe the game wouldn't have been better, but at least it would have been complete. In my opinion, just the game being complete makes it better. But no, Ocarina of Time 3D is just as unfinished. And I don't believe the argument that they went in and recoded everything from scratch. Because they also stated that they left in a lot of the bugs and glitches in the game because they were afraid that people were going to get upset that they changed them and removed them. I'm sorry, you don't just leave bugs in the game. I'm fairly certain that either A, maybe it is, which is stupid, that they were afraid. Like, that just tells you how toxic the Ocarina of Time fanbase is. That the creators were afraid to remove bugs from the game because people might get upset. Like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There should be absolutely no creator that is afraid to update their game to remove bugs because fans might get upset. That is so stupid. And that's not, I'm not saying that's Nintendo's fault. I'm saying that's the fandom's fault. Like, it is so stupid that fans of this game were so adamant about it that the creators were legitimately afraid of changing anything. That is so dumb. Ocarina of Time 3D could have been amazing. It could have been the true Ocarina of Time experience, where we finally got to see what Ocarina of Time was supposed to be. But instead... Oh my god, this controller. But instead, the fandom was like, nah. If they change anything, we're going to be upset. Hey, good to see you again. I'll give you this as a memento. Have a piece of heart. And I'm worried that with the backlash that Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and now Link's Awakening on Switch have had. Like, that's 3 remakes that Nintendo has tried to do. All of which people were upset at. You know, Link's Awakening for Switch, they were like, well, the game doesn't perform at 60 FPS, and like the like fog thing that they do on the edge of the screen and this and that. I had no problems with that game. It was way better than the original. I had 0 issues. Sure, there were a couple of moments where there was a little bit of slowdown. That's always been an issue in every video game I've ever played. You saw earlier when I was fighting a Stalfos. You saw the crusty frames that we got there when the Stalfos died. That's not from this program. That's on the original N64. Crusty frames just happen in video games. That's not something to complain about. Because otherwise, no game can ever be a masterpiece. This game has so many crusty frames. So many. And yet, everybody claims it a masterpiece. And I'm just worried that, like, Nintendo's gonna look at how Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were received, and then look at Link's Awakening and how it was received, and they're just gonna be like, you know what? No, there's no point in trying to remake games. There's no point in trying to remake these anymore. Like, people just... Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it when we take the games that they enjoy and remake them and re-release them. Nobody likes it, so we're just gonna not do that. And then we're never gonna get like a remake of the original Zelda or Zelda 2 or the Oracle series or any of these games that need remakes. And that's the thing that I'm the most scared about. So many people feel the same way about Zelda 1 as they do Ocarina of Time. I'm scared that when they re-release, that if they do a remake of Zelda 1, they're going to be like, well, it has to be exactly the same. Destroyed the wicked creatures that haunted the temple and awakened the sage. But there are still other sages who need your help. In order to awaken all the other sages, you must become even more powerful. You must travel over mountains, underwater, and even through time. If you want to return to your original time, return the Master Sword to the pedestal of time. By doing this, you will travel back in time 7 years. Because that makes sense. The time will come when you will have to return here quickly. I will teach this to you for when that time comes. Song to return you to the Temple of Time, the Prelude of Light. Like, there's even a Light Temple song. Like, the Light Temple must have been removed near the end of development. Because otherwise they would have called this the Prelude of Time or something. But it's the Prelude of Light that takes you to the Temple of Time. Even though the Minuet of Forest takes you to the Forest Temple, and the Bolero of Fire takes you to the Fire Temple, and the Serenade of Water takes you to the Water Temple, the Prelude of Light takes you to the Time Temple. Because that makes sense. As long as you hold the Ocarina of Time and the Master Sword, you hold time itself in your hands. Link, we shall meet again. So here's my issue with this mechanic. Link drops the Master Sword in right like this, right? And he goes back in time. Why doesn't he just leave the sword in? And then Ganondorf can never get the Triforce. Because you return to the past at the time before Ganondorf got the Triforce. So, like, this is it. My quest is complete. As long as the Master Sword lies here, Ganondorf can never get the Triforce. Like, I've won. This is it. This is the end of the game. I've won. This is why this mechanic makes no sense. Like, I've won. I literally just won the game. Why don't I take the stones? Will that not close the door of time? Fine, let's say that doesn't matter. This is still a lock. The I can't walk in here and go to the Sacred Realm. This this locks the Sacred Realm. As long as the Master Sword is here, Ganondorf can't touch the Sacred Realm. He can't touch the Triforce. So, that's just it. I've won. And don't even get me started on Master Quest. Because Master Quest, you had to solve puzzles in the future that then affect the past somehow. In the Master Quest version of the Spirit Temple, you have to do the past, go into the future, solve half of the future, then go back into the past because you unlocked a couple of things in the future that changed the past. You go back to the past, you solve those puzzles, then return to the future to finish the Spirit Temple. That's Master Quest. I'm sorry, but what? Like, I've won the game. This is it. I've won the game now. Game over. Ganondorf loses. The Master Sword is now forever in the Temple of Time now. As long as I don't grab it. So therefore, the Sacred Realm is locked, and therefore he cannot claim the Triforce. So why do I have to do anything? Like, it's game over. I have issues with this game. When people say Ocarina of Time has an amazing story, I completely disagree. Because everything about Ocarina of Time is not a good story. It's not. I'm sorry, but it's not. There's nothing. The world building is amazing. But if you want to talk the world building, that was all done prior in A Link to the Past. A Link to the Past was where we got introduced to Ganondorf. A Link to the Past was where we got introduced to the gods created the Triforce. That was A Link to the Past that did all that story world building, not Ocarina of Time. There will never be a Zelda game that satisfies people as much as Ocarina of Time, because Ocarina of Time's satisfaction came from 2D to 3D. And you can't go beyond that. Even if we somehow figured out how to make 4D games, our human brains couldn't see them. And trust me, I've played some 4D games. There legitimately are 4D games out there. They're crazy. But our human brains can't see them. So they're 4D games made in 3D. Which is a whole thing to wrap your brain around, let me tell you. Like, frick. It's going so fast. Go around, go around, go around. What? It's going way too fast. Now I can go get the Eye of Truth. Which I will reserve for the next time we play Ocarina of Time. That said, I know that we've got 20 Skulltulas. I don't remember what the reward is. I think it's the Rumble Pack, which won't help me at all because there's no Rumble feature. Curse has been broken, thank you. Here's a reward for you. Yeah, it was the Rumble Pack. Zone of Agony. If you equip a Rumble Pack, it will react to nearby secrets. I think it's 30 to get... It's either 30 or 50 to get the Giant's Wallet. Neither way, I don't even care. It's not like having the ability to carry 500 rupees versus 200 matters. So, but I'm going to go ahead and leave Ocarina of Time off here. I hope you've enjoyed. Leave a comment down below your thoughts. Oh god, am I really inviting people to leave their thoughts? Leave your thoughts on my criticism. Please, just please don't start a flame war. Please. I know it's gonna happen. I'm saying please don't start a flame war, but it's gonna happen. Because it's Ocarina of Time. It's only going to cause a flame war. That's the thing. If you disagree that Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game, you have already started the flame war. So. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed Ocarina of Time. Like I said, leave your thoughts below. Tell me what you think of what I said about Ocarina of Time. I would love to know what people love about this game. Like, this is coming from somebody who loved Ocarina of Time as a kid. You know, well, as a teen. I didn't get to play it till I was a teen. But, like, I loved this game as a kid. But every time I come back to it, I just find more and more problems. I just get more and more upset. More and more annoyed. And I hate this game just more and more. I don't hate this game. I just dislike it more and more. Though I feel like I'm starting to reach the point where I'm starting to actually hate this game. I don't think it's the game's fault. But like I said, tell me what you think. I don't know. Maybe more stream tonight. This was streamed live over at twitch.tv/SereneInc. Feel free to come out, hang out with us, chat, and so on. There should be a link down below in the video description to the playlist where you can, you know, watch it all over. You know, watch all the episodes that you missed. Or just, you know, watch everything all over again. And, I'll see you guys next time. See you later.